The blow landed hard, a crack that echoed through the dimly lit bar. The woman's head snapped sideways, her lips splitting open. For a heartbeat, everything froze. The laughter died. The music stopped. The only sound left was the slow, deliberate inhale she took as blood traced the corner of her mouth. Her name was Commander Elise Ward, U.S. Navy SEAL, though the men who'd just hit her didn't know it yet. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. She'd come there quietly that night, off duty and out of uniform, to clear her head after months overseas. The bar was a rough one, a place where soldiers went to forget the things they'd rather not remember. But what Elise didn't expect was to become a target. A group of men, half-drunk and full of arrogance, had started with jokes, small, mean-spirited ones about girls in uniform and pretty soldiers. Elise ignored them. Sipping her drink, her shoulders relaxed, eyes calm. She'd dealt with worse. But when one of them stepped too close, invading her space, she simply said, "Step back." He did. Instead, he laughed. Or what? And before she could answer, he hit her. The sound was sharp. Her head turned, but she didn't fall. Slowly, she looked back at him, her expression unreadable. The crowd held its breath. She stood very still. Then softly she said, "You shouldn't have done that." The man's smirk faltered. There was something in her eyes, something cold and unblinking, like the ocean before a storm. She took one slow step forward, and the crowd instinctively moved back. He swung again, but this time she caught his wrist mid-air, in one fluid motion. She twisted, not violently, just efficiently. The crack of bone was almost gentle. His scream wasn't. Before anyone else could react, two of his friends lunged at her. She dropped low, pivoted, and both men hit the floor within seconds, one gasping for air, the other clutching his arm. It wasn't rage. It wasn't fury. It was precision. Every move was calm, calculated, the movements of someone trained not just to fight, but to end fights. The bartender froze, eyes wide. "Who the hell are you?" he whispered. She didn't answer. Instead, she looked at the man who'd hit her, now curled on the ground, moaning, unable to meet her gaze. Moments later, a figure stepped in from the doorway, tall, square-shouldered, in civilian clothes, but carrying himself with unmistakable authority. His voice cut through the tension like steel through silk. "Commander Ward," he said, quiet but firm. The crowd turned. Elise's jaw tightened. "Commander?" Someone muttered. The man, Colonel Reeves, walked closer. "Stand down," he said softly. They didn't know. She exhaled slowly, letting go of the tension in her hands. Around her, the broken men groaned on the floor, realizing too late who they'd just attacked. Reeves glanced at them, disappointment etched in his face. "You just assaulted a Navy SEAL," he said, "and not just any SEAL. The one who pulled 6 Marines out of Helmand under fire last year?" A murmur rippled through the bar of disbelief, then shame. One of the men stammered, We didn't know, sir." Reeves' voice was low, dangerous. "You never do you?" Elise took a napkin, wiped the blood from her lip, and set it gently on the counter. "You don't have to do this," she said. But Reeves just shook his head. "No, Commander, they do." He turned to the room. "Every one of you who stood there and watched, remember this moment. You saw a soldier bleed, and you did nothing. The silence that followed was heavier than any shouting could have been. Shame has a sound. It's the stillness that fills a room after truth has been spoken." Elise looked at the men, not with anger, but with something deeper. Pity. "Next time," she said softly, "think before you raise your hand to someone who wears the same flag you do." Outside, the night air was cold and sharp. Reeves walked beside her. "You could have ended that in a lot worse ways," he said. "I almost did," she admitted quietly. "But that's not who I am anymore." He gave a small smile. Still the calm in the storm. She looked out at the dark horizon, at the faint shimmer of the ocean in the distance. "They think strength is about domination," she said. "But real strength is knowing when to stop," Reeves nodded. And that's why they'll never be what you are, she didn't reply. The wind rustled through her hair, carrying the faint scent of salt and steel. Somewhere deep inside, she felt the ache of everything she'd seen, the brothers she'd lost, the weight she still carried. But tonight wasn't about pain. It was about restraint, because sometimes walking away takes more power than striking back. Days later, a letter arrived at her base. No name, no return address, just 3 signatures and a few lines written in rough handwriting. We're sorry, Commander. We didn't see you for who you were. Thank you for showing us what honor really looks like. She folded the paper carefully and placed it in her journal, between the pages that spoke of battles no one would ever read about. Then she smiled, faint and true. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. And in the quiet strength of a woman once underestimated, a room full of soldiers learned that real warriors don't fight for pride, they fight for peace. If this story moved you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes in quiet strength. This is Whispered Words, where every story reminds us, even the toughest battles are won not with rage, but with restraint.